Nothing, right? Doesn't even want to at all.
Oh yeah, that's totally gonna work. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This is Alyssa ingenuity right here, is it not? Or I came up with the idea at the same time as you.
This is fantastic.
Oh, hey, Bugaboo. Bugaboo, are you being Savannah cat? No. Bugaboo, are you in your I'm too toasty spot? Oh, it's pretty hot outside, Buggafish. It's pretty hot.
So we need one at 3.5 inches. And the way you're gonna get that is by cutting one at 1 inch and one at 2.5 inches. When you screw them together, you're gonna get a 3.5 inch piece. I'll show you how to do that. And then we need two at 4 inches. And the way you're gonna do that is by cutting one at 1 1/4 and one at 2 3/4. Or I guess it would be two each. Got it? The easiest way to put them together is to lay them flat on the table saw like this, try to make sure that end is fairly flush, and just put one screw in, right? Make sure it's nice and flush. Make sure it's aligned all the way down, because it's not gonna be
How many
perfect.
screws are you putting in for the whole thing?
4 would be fine.
Gotcha,
Yep.
okay. Are you ready to go up after this then?
Yeah, yep, I'll just go up and put them in. I'll probably screw them in into the rafters. That breeze feels so good.
I know, doesn't it?
in the freaking world? I think there's got to be a Murphy's Law for anything that you do at heights has to be 1,000 times harder than when you're standing on level ground. This impact driver, you can't get a bit out of for your life. It's one of the older models that doesn't have the auto chuck where you stick a bit in, right? Twice the bit just pops out for no reason. And now it's stuck down in our sheetrock. So I think a drill bit's getting buried in this peak. So I'm not gonna go down to the ground and get a magnet, come back up here, fish it out of there. Sorry, drill bit. You're becoming part of this house, buddy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 10 times harder than it has to be. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I doubt you guys can even see on the camera, but the cold roof is doing its job. You can actually see the airflow and the heat escaping through the vents. It's pretty sweet. Of course, that's just the membrane heating up the plywood, but you can see the air moving through the cold roof. There's no way the camera's gonna be able to see that, but it's pretty sweet to see it happening. Like a surgeon. Not burying drill bits in this house yet. How is that even possible? This bit is 9 inches long and it fell out of my pocket. Golly. Nice. Awesome. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 3 to go. Bye, son. So far, this membrane is stuck. We're going to talk more about that later and explain the problem that we're having with it.
Upside down.
What's this little guy up to? I don't know. Taking a bath or what? Looks like he's cleaning his stinger. Do you guys think that bees get itchy butt? You know, there's a Chinese proverb that goes something like this. He who goes to bed with itchy butt wakes up with stinky finger. Melissa has a deeper quandary. She wonders if bees, when they're in the grocery store, get itchy butt and they try to find an aisle where there isn't anybody, and then you make sure nobody's looking. What do you guys think? You guys might recall that we bought this Great stuff, gaps and cracks foam. We originally were working on the roof ceiling and it was really difficult. And we decided to stay away from this stuff because of one explicit thing on the can that says, this product is not to be used for filling closed cavities or voids. And that made me nervous. And up near the top it says, overfilling might buckle some substrates. Because what we were trying to fill with the foam, or with the sips, was a closed void, and this has the power to buckle stuff. Boy, that's the last thing we need. But I think it's going to be ideal for this application. It says that we can actually mist it with water to speed up the cure. I think a lot of these foams, not all of them, a lot of them are actually activated by moisture. So even though it's really warm right now, it's not that humid. I think the humidity's dropped quite a bit. In fact, right now we're under a fire watch. As if 104-degree heat's not ideal for fire conditions, I think the humidity is dropping a bunch through tomorrow afternoon. So if you're out there fighting fires, please be safe. We've definitely got a tinderbox going. So this foam we're going to use, but we've got a little bit more of an advanced strategy than this. So we kind of learned something the hard way with the sips. When we hot knifed all the edges, if you remember, we had a lot of the lumber splines were not the correct depth, and so Alyssa spent hours fixing that. Well, a lot of that foam took it to the landfill. And I guess in hindsight, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking our property is a filthy pigsty, and I want all this garbage off my property. And so I took it to the landfill. Well, something we learned about sips is that if you have to hot knife one side and that leaves you a little thin on the other side, it's no problem to just glue what you hot knife from one side to the other side. Well, now we're paying to put foam in the ridge when in fact we could have just used the stuff that we hot knifed. But wait, there's more. So you remember how all the voids in the roof, we wanted foam coming out of them? Well, this to me looks like perfect for filling up the ridge. Dual purpose. One, keeps it out of the landfill, and two, saves us a bunch of money. My hunch is that there's way too much here and that we won't need all of this, which really sucks. But I think we're going to try to use as much as we can. And then we'll fill the rest with new foam, which hopefully will expand and encapsulate the sip foam and this guy. Do you guys think Alyssa's much of an athlete?
Nope.
Oh, rubber hands, rubber hands.
That's pretty good.
That was really good. Wow, you can be on my team anytime. It's okay. Is that one ready?
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you ready to have our gap closed?
I am.
Does this make you sleep well tonight?
We should have a gap closing party. I feel like my man basket's kind of full.
Right. That is really full.
You know,
how are you gonna stand in there?
my man basket kind of looks like a college dorm room full of foam and lumber, and
That's a really good party.
that's a good party.
That's a cute little guy.
Yeah.
So that's to support the other peak.
Yep, it supports it at the overhang. So this piece of wood that we're putting in forms or completes the overhang on the sips. But after it leaves the timber frame, there's nothing to support it out to the lumber spline in the sips. And we're going to be attaching cladding underneath for decorative purposes and to protect the sips. And they'll need something to fasten to. Otherwise there'll just be a void there. And we want to fill it with foam, and there's nothing to stop the foam from just falling through. So this cute little guy has a really big job. Need your help shaking the foam cans.
I can do that.
Yeah. Let's see your cheerleader.
So I hate this part.
Yeah. That's how you build muscles, guys, and build a house.
Do you
right?
remember the shake weight?
Oh, I remember the shake weight.
Shake weight. Everyone remembers the shake weight. I just realized I have to carry all that foam to the ridge. One armload at a time.
So in case you're not entirely sure what we're doing right here, we did explain it in another video, but I'll go ahead and explain it again. Here's our rafters. Our sips are held off from the peak by a little bit on each side. So this gap right here is 3 to 4 inches. We did that for 2 reasons. One, it was recommended to us to do that because when you put the roof panels on, or any sips for that matter, they have a tendency to grow. So all of our sip walls, we held off an entire inch, and for the most part, we had about an inch when we were done because we were so meticulous about getting the panels to seat very, very flush. But on the south wall, because we had a lot of lumber that was kind of warped in the wall, we took every bit of that inch that we had held off. So in the end, we barely squeezed the last panel in. So that's why we held the roof sips off. Reason number 2, we needed space to slide the last panel on. If you remember, on the bottom of the sips, we attached splines that shoehorn into the sip below it. So if it was flush at the top, how would you slide the panel on? You couldn't. I'm kind of just gonna redraw Jesse's drawing right here. I think these are our rafters, and then here's our sips. And this is the gap right now that we're worrying about. So basically, this right here is drywall. So the main reason we're putting our little lumber contraption is so that the drywall has something to secure to. Otherwise, the pressure of the foam can start to build up and it can push on the drywall, bowing it out a little bit, which really isn't ideal. And it doesn't hurt to give that 2 inches of drywall a little bit of support, even if it's not really needed. So our lumber contraption, we'll do this in a different color, is gonna look something like that. The red is lumber. And then all in here is gonna be foam. So it was advised to us that we first put in a layer of foam from the foam gun, so that might be here. And then we're gonna stuff our bits of foam that we had laying around the property, look like little tumory things like that. And then we're gonna spray foam in all the gaps. Da-da-da. And that, my friends, will seal up our peak. If you guys remember, we planted potatoes a while back. These are the new potatoes we planted just a couple of weeks ago. And as you can see, they're coming up quite nicely. And these are the potatoes that have been here for a while. It seems that one potato growing method is to, as your potatoes grow up, you add more and more soil. So that's what I did today. I went ahead and pretty much filled these suckers all the way up, which make the plants look smaller again, but I can assure you, these are turning into some pretty large plants. Another small garden win. We planted a bunch of jalapenos and I pulled a lot of them out. For some reason, they just didn't take. Clearly, all the other plants are doing very well, so I highly doubt it's the soil. I'm not really sure why they didn't do well. But just when I thought we had none, I found one. Look guys, tell me that's not a jalapeno. That sucker looks amazing. I also found our very first aphids on the kale. The very first kale I ever grew was completely taken over by aphids. All the leaves curled up, and when you unfolded them, aphids everywhere. So all these inner leaves are really good, but some of the outer leaves on the underside have aphids. It's not really obvious by looking at it, but I'm certainly paying attention to it before we eat it. So not really sure what to do about that one. Definitely don't want to resort to using pesticides of any sort, so might do a little bit of research. Not too worried about it. And look at our spaghetti squash. This guy is so fat that he fell out of his planter. Look at that. Oh my god. Here's my hand. Oh my god. This is the biggest thing in our garden so far, and I'm so excited to harvest it. You may also remember that our cilantro was dying. Well, I added some sawdust mulch. I moved it under the shade of the squash plant so it doesn't get so much sunlight, and the combination of the two appears to be helping it. I also mulched this little flower seedling bed, and I think all the plants are responding really well to it. Look at these beets. These guys are just taking off. So are the bachelor buttons. These are flowers, and I really can't wait to see what they look like. The photo on the seed packet really excites me. And I'm still stumped to why this one tomatillo plant is pretty yellow. It's been like that for a couple of weeks now. It's certainly not showing signs of improvement. Could be dehydration or not enough water, not really sure. Jesse's sister was suggesting that maybe because it's on the outside of the bed and it's so unprotected and exposed to the elements. I'm not really sure. If it was like a soil deficiency, you'd think that other plants would be looking the same, and they're not. It's just this one plant, so I'm totally stumped, guys. And the last thing I want to show you in the garden that's particularly noteworthy is look at this tomato cluster. These are Oregon spring tomatoes. Just did some soil investigating, and it seems that really that whole planter is pretty dry, despite upping our watering time to 45 minutes a day on the soaker system. So not really sure what's going on there. I kind of gave the whole bed a good soak, so we'll kind of check on it over the next couple of days, see if things improve.
Well, I got about a halfway and I had a very, very, very important phone call. So it looks like foaming has been postponed until mañana. You ever noticed that really important phone calls almost always happen at really inconvenient times?
Right? It's good to chat with your brother for a while.
Yeah, I never hear from that kid.
Yep.
So it's good to talk to him.
I say we pick up this project tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see the foam in the dark. Dinner ready?
I didn't know how long you'd be up there, but it's ready to hit the cook button.
Sweet. I'm really tired.
I'm so tired.
I feel like we worked a lot of hours today.
Yeah.
I think I also need to hydrate a little bit. I was like, oh, I'll get a drink next time I'm down.
Right.
And then I was on the phone for an hour, so that didn't work out too good. I think we should eat dinner, rest, and it looks like the membrane is sticking. So I think we've got our work cut out for us tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be a big day.
And something really freaking exciting is happening tomorrow.
I think I told
Oh, you told them already?
I don't know if I told them already.
Okay, if you didn't
If
tell
I
them,
did tell them, we're not telling them.
it'll be a surprise. If she did tell you, Alyssa! All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll have more foamy fun.